say his, I would say yes. The Pirates, the next Pirates movie. Six, 7, I'm not sure what the number is.
It's 6, I think there's Pirate 6 and 1 is and why, what is your understanding of why Mr. Depp lost Pirate 6?
My opinion is that it was related to the accusations that Amber has made.
And what is your opinion based on?
Excuse me?
What is your opinion based on?
Conversations with colleagues and
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
conversations with studios and other executives, both internal and external.
When you say related to the accusation made by Amber Heard against Mr. Depp, are you talking about accusations of domestic violence abuse by Mr. Depp?
Yes.
How many conversations have you had with studio and other executives?
I have no idea.
More than 5 or 10?
I don't know about more than 10, probably between 5 and 10.
Who do you recall speaking with at the studios or other executives?
Jerry Bruckheimer, really mostly Jerry, and then colleagues at CA.
When did you first have any conversation with Jerry Bruckheimer about Pirate 6?
I have no idea.
Whether it was 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019.
I don't.
When did you have any conversation about this?
It would have been whenever the decisions were being made about how to cast that movie. Honestly, I don't know what year that was.
Do you recall who you spoke with at this meeting?
I spoke with Jack Wiggum. I spoke with Ryan Lower.
What do you recall Jerry Bruckheimer talking
I don't recall the specific conversations, but the nature of it was that the studio was having difficulty deploying it.
And did Mr. Bruckheimer tell you why the studio was having difficulty employing Mr. Depp?
No, not specifically, but it was understood.
Did you ask?
I didn't need to.
Why did you think you didn't need to?
Because everyone was aware of what was garnering the attention of the studios in determining whether or not he could be employed.
You testified just a few minutes ago that it was your opinion that Mr. Depp lost the Pirate 6 movie because of Miss Heard's allegations. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Allegations of abuse, correct?
Yes.
And is this a demonstration of when Disney made that decision to not hire Mr. Depp for Pirate 6?
Yes.
722.
Did you ever see Mr. Depp physically that he had physically abused Ms. Heard?
No.
Did you ever witness any injuries on Ms. Heard that would indicate that she was physically abused?
No.
Now, again, this is a few months after the filing of the divorce papers and the TRO, and Ms. Heard states to you, "I'll call you right back, sorry." And you say, "Okay." She says, "Is it too late to call?" And you say, "Just finishing dinner. We'll call you as soon as we walk out within 20. And she says, "Please tell him I love him." Is that an accurate reading of the text exchange so far?
Yes.
Do you know if at this time, based on your relationship with Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp, whether Ms. Heard wanted to reconcile with Mr. Depp?
Yes.
It's your understanding that she did?
Yes.
Did Ms. Heard, based on your personal friendship with Ms. Heard, close personal friendship with Ms. Heard, would you say that she confided in you?
Yes.
And what about Mr. Depp?
Yes.
Do you know at some point in time that after Ms. Heard filed those divorce papers in May of 2016, did she make any requests of you to intervene in the relationship between her and Mr. Depp?
What do you mean by intervene?
Let's start with this, just in communications between the two.
Objection. Name objections.
Can you explain to me what transpired in that regard? Walk me through that.
At some point around that time, she wanted me to arrange for them to get together in person.
And what did you do after that was requested of you by Ms. Heard?
I talked to Johnny about it.
What happened after that?
He was reluctant at first and then agreed.
And then what happened after that?
I mean, this is a long time ago, but I remember there was a fair amount of discussion about the TRO and how we were deal with that because nobody wanted Johnny accused of violating the TRO as an outcome of that meeting. And I don't remember exactly what we did, but Amber at some point warranted that she would never accuse him of violating the TRO to do the meeting, and I set the meeting up.
So just so I understand, you set the meeting up at the request of Ms. Heard?
Objection.
And as part of you setting up, she told you that it did matter. I'm trying to understand what was the issue with respect to TRO.
My understanding of the restraining order, at least at the time, was that he couldn't go within a certain distance of her.
And what was her suggestion with respect to that issue in connection with her wanting to meet with him?
She promised me and told me to relay to him that she would never accuse him of violating a restraining order as a result of agreeing to meet her. And I believe, but I don't recall exactly, there were conversations with both sides legally, I believe at the time, to make it transparent to everybody that this was happening.
Okay. And then what happened next?
I arranged the meeting. Johnny was in sat outside.
Okay. How close to each other were they?
Inches away from each other.
And how long were they out there talking? For how long were they out there talking?
Several hours.
Did you, although you were out there, did you in a position where you could see them through a window or otherwise?
Yes.
At some point in time, the conversation ended, correct?
Correct.
And what happened after that?
I received a call or a text from Steve, whose house it was, and he notified me that he would be coming back to the house within the next hour or so. And I told Johnny and Amber, and we decided to rent a hotel room in San Francisco so that they can continue to talk.
And did that in fact happen?
Objections.
And at some point in time, you left that house, correct, to go to San Francisco?
Yes.
And was it the three of you?
No. Johnny had security with him, and we talked about the fact that it wouldn't be a good idea for them to be seen together there. So Johnny left with his security in his car, and I believe Amber and I took an Uber.
And what happened after that?
We all met at the hotel room.
And do you know what happened after that?
They started arguing.
And do you recall any details of the argument?
No.
And for how long was this argument had in a hotel room?
Yes.
Did you witness the entire discussion, or did you leave at some point?
I left the next morning at 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning.
Did Mr. Greenup bring you email just the bottom of the first page? It starts at the bottom of the first page. The string above it was redacted, and you'll see that it starts on August 7th, 2017. Do you see that?
August 7th, 2017, yes.
Having read it, you determine who you're speaking with in this text exchange?
Amber.
Hang on, let me ask you this. Do you know whether or not Ms. Heard ever had a relationship with Mr. Elon Musk?
Yes.
She did?
Yes.
So again, it's dated August of 2017. And she says, dealing with breakup, I hate when things go public. See, I'm so sad. Having reviewed the document again, do you have an understanding of what she's referencing there?
I believe she's referring to breaking up with Elon.
You say, seems like a press release. You weren't in love with him, and you told me 1,000 times you were just filling space. What are you saying there?
I'm saying, why would you be sad if you weren't in love with him to begin with?
And by him, you're referring to
Elon.
just to get this document again, Mr. Green, do you see that it's referenced at the bottom, page stamp CC, indicating that you produced this document?
Yes.
And having read this, do you perceive this as a true or copy of the text exchange between you and Ms. Heard?
Yes.
And I will, you see at the very top here, it's dated August 16th, 2017.
Yes.
And Ms. Heard states to you, I've written so many notes. Can you give him one? I don't know how or where to start. There's no way to begin. And all I have to say, but I have so many. Finally, I am single, clear in my heart and mind. I just wanted to know I loved him and that I am sorry. Do you have an understanding of it says, and that I am sorry. What was your understanding of what she was asking you to do there, if anything?
I believe that was all in reference to getting him a handwritten letter that she was writing or trying to write.
Was it your understanding at the time of this text exchange, August 24, 2017, that Miss Amber was attempting to reconcile with Mr. Depp?
I believe so.
And I know this may sound repetitive, but on August 20, at the time of this text, on August 24th, 2017, you and her were still close personal friends, correct?
I believe so.
There's not much here at all about Mr. Barrington, but I did want to confirm that this was a document produced by you, correct, based on the date stamp on the bottom?
Yes.
And you see it's dated September 27th, 2017.
September 23rd.
Oh, you're right. My apologies. It's dated September 23rd, 2017. And it's a text to you that says, God, I miss him. Do you have an understanding of who Ms. Hurd is referring to there?
Yes.
And who's that?
Johnny.
And do you see at the bottom, the date of the text is June 9th, 2018?
Yes.
Okay. And it says, I text him happy birthday. Do you know who sent that and who the him is?
I assume this is from Amber and she's talking about Johnny.
We ready for the jury?
And I think by now probably everybody's familiar, but can you just very quickly say who those people are.
Debbie Lloyd was a nurse. David Kipper was Dr. David Kipper. Miss Heard was Miss Heard, and Jerry Judge was head of security.
And when you arrived at the house on Sunday, March 8th, 2015, what did you do?
I just parked up and went into the house.
And did you observe anything when you went into the house?
Yeah, I mean, initially I walked into the front door. Initially I heard, rather than saw anything, I could hear pretty hysterical sobbing, crying, which sounded like misheard to me. I heard Jerry Judge's voice. There's a few steps as you go up into the house, so you can't immediately see what's going on. But so I went up the steps. I could see then misheard. On the right-hand side, moved towards the TV room with Jerry Judge. David Kipper was in the kitchen area, which was pretty much directly ahead as you walk up those steps.
And were you able to visually see Miss Heard?
Yes.
And you were able to hear her as well?
Absolutely.
How would you describe her demeanor?
Hysterical. Probably the best way to describe it. Crying a lot and, just crying uncontrollably, I think it's fair to say.
And how would you describe Jerry Judge's demeanor when he was speaking with her?
I think it was just keeping her calm, saying, "It's all right, love, it will be all right." Jerry was good, like a big heart. Jerry is a good guy. He was calm. Jerry was always calm.
And what did you do next?
I saw they were engaged across away there, so I went into the main kitchen area, which, as I said, was just directly ahead of those main steps, and spoke to David Kipper.
And following that conversation, what did you do?
Well, he told me that Mr. Depp had...
Your Honor, it's... Well, maybe we approach. So, you can answer the question. What did you do next?
So I spoke to David Kipper, who was in the kitchen area, seemingly rummaging through a bin. He said that Mr. Depp had sustained an injury to his finger, one of his fingers, and he was looking for the fingertip that it said it had been severed. So I said, well, shall I help you? As one would. And he said, yeah, that would be a good idea. I left him in the kitchen. He said there was a lot more damage downstairs. So I went, we split up. He left him in the kitchen. I went downstairs to search.
At some point, was Mr. Depp's fingertip found?
Yes.
Who found it?
I did.
And where did you find it?
Downstairs in the bar area. The games room bar area.
So, can you walk us through how you found it?
Yes, so I walked down the stairs. There's a bit of damage down the steps. That big chunk had been taken out of the marble staircase. On my way down, remnants of what looked like a plant pot or something around it smashed. Looking down into the bar, I could see the damage that Dr. Kipper had told me about. A broken ping pong table collapsed onto the floor, and lots of glass and broken glass and cans strewn around the bar area.
And where exactly was the finger in the bar area?
Directly below the bar. The bar was set up like a conventional bar that stuck out from a wall, and with a marble top. There was a big chunk out of that as well, like on the staircase. Directly at the end of the bar, there was a scrunch scrunched up piece of kitchen paper, if you like, tissue, with lots of blood around it, on it. So I thought that's probably a pretty good place to look. And it was within that scrunched up piece of paper on the tiled floor at the end of the bar, the base of the bar by one of the bar stools.
Come explore the ultimate real estate website at coldwellbanker.com.
Was there any property damage around the finger?
Yes, a fair bit on the floor around the area. There were puddles of what smelled like alcohol to me. It seemed like several drinking glasses, a couple of bottles. One was a Stolichnaya vodka bottle. And at the end of the bar, as I said, there was a big chunk out of the bar itself, the bar on the top. At the end of that bar, there was plaster damage right at the end of the bar on the wall. Behind the bar, it's smashed and cracked mirror. There's a blue mirror that stretched the whole span of behind the bar. Lots of cans again behind the bar on the floor. Broken window at the end of the bar, and plaster work damage on the wall above the sink. There's sort of a kitchenette bar, if you like, as well.
You mentioned a bottle of vodka. Was the vodka bottle intact?
No. No, nothing was really intact. The top of it, the top of the bottle was like, it had a label on it, which is how I knew it was a Stolichnaya bottle. It had that sort of squiggly S, sort of yellow top. There was a large chunk of the bottle, which I guess was the rest of that, and several other, lots of other broken glass around the area.
After you found the fingertip in the bar area, what did you do next?
Well, I gathered it up in that kitchen paper and sort of took it upstairs. I might have shouted up to David Kipper I found it. I'm not sure. I walked back upstairs to the kitchen and put it, got a bag, little plastic bag, put the fingertip in there, set it on top of some ice in this plastic kitchen container, and pretty much handed it over to David Kipper and Jerry Judge, I think, at the time, who were keen to get it to the hospital quickly to see if it could be reattached.
Do you recall about what time you found Mr. Depp's finger in the bar area?
It was about an hour after I got there, so it would have been around 3:30, I would think, 3:20, 3:30.
Now, you've told us a little bit about the state the house was in when you arrived.
Yes.
Can you generally describe for us, and maybe go level by level through the house, what damage you observed?
Sure. Do you want me to start at the lower ground floor in that bar area? I've described a lot of that.
Sure, that's fine.
It was pretty extensive down there, all that broken glass, the blood. There were a lot of blood drips across that floor. It was a kind of cream-coloured tiled floor in that whole games area. As I said, the ping pong table was collapsed. Blood drips across the floor and around the bar. And the damage on the walls, as I said, the plaster work at the end of the bar, behind the bar, and the chunk out of the marble top. So on the ground, that was the predominant damage in that area, on that level. On the next floor, on the main floor where David Kipper was, in the kitchen itself, again, a few broken glasses and cans on the floor, soda cans behind the kitchen island, the chef's kitchen island, liquid puddles. There was a sitting room with a couch on a cream-coloured couch, which had a fair amount of blood drips on the cushions, and that was obvious. The TV, which was directly steps into the master bedroom, across the master bedroom floor. Going into the master bathroom, there was his and her sinks and a mirror, a large mirror above each of the sinks that had writing on each of them. Again, both of the bedrooms, I think, had blood, duvet covers, and another lamp was broken. And Mr. Depp's guitar was in one of those bedrooms. Bloodstained guitar. His iPad was standing up on one of the beds in one of those bedrooms. That's about the extent of it.
That's the damage.
On each level, yeah.
Whose job was it to clean all that up?
It was mine. It was mine. My responsibility. The house was essentially my responsibility.
So were you familiar with the damage generally throughout the house?
I got a pretty good idea as I walked around and saw it all, yes.
Did you observe any damaged phones?
No.
Did you observe any damage to a wall where a phone might have been ripped off the wall?
No.
Bleeding. Yeah, maybe the next one. Was there any artwork in this house? Decorating the house?
The owners had left their art in the house, yes. Mr. Depp and Miss Heard had done some artwork themselves, yes. But, yes, there was some that came with the house, if you like.
Focusing just on the artwork that came with the house, did you observe any damage to any of that?
No, nothing that I needed to repair or replace. Certainly not. Thank goodness.
Is there any other damage that comes to mind?
Just a lot of blood, a lot of repairs. The floor, as I said, was quite heavily with blood and paint. Yeah.
And in terms of bodily fluids, it was just blood that you observed, no urine or anything else?
Yes, absolutely.
Sustain.
That's fine.
Strengthening its records.
No other damage? Does any other damage come to mind?
No.
Can we take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 375, which I believe is already in evidence? And can we publish this to the jury? Mr. King, are you familiar with the image that's on the screen in front of you?
Yes, that's one of the mirrors I was telling you about in the master bathroom.
And so, were you involved in cleaning any of this up?
I cleaned both of those mirrors at some point that evening, that night. Yes.
Were you able to tell what was used, what substance what sort of the ink is that's used on the black writing there?
That was the same oil paint that was on the floor on the parquet floor downstairs and various other places. It was the same oil paint.
Alright, how about the red writing that says, call Carly Simon. She said it better, babe. Were you able to tell what was used to make that writing?
Lipstick, I believe. Foundation.
He's testified that he was cleaning it up.
It certainly seemed like lipstick to me, red lipstick. It was quite waxy. I remember taking that off. It seemed like lipstick.
We can take that down. Mr. King, about how long were you at the house on that Sunday?
Quite a long time. It actually went into the early hours of Monday morning, so at least I got there around 2 in the afternoon of Sunday. I don't think I left there until 2 or 3 o'clock the next morning of the 9th.
Over the course of the time that you were there that day, Sticking with Sunday, when you were interacting with her on that Sunday, were you, and how close were you to her?
Very close, very close in front of her.
And do you recall observing any injuries on Miss Hurd?
No, none whatsoever.
Did you notice anything unusual about her physically at all?
No, she was obviously crying a lot, she had red eyes. But no, otherwise no.
So what happened the following day, that Monday, March 9th, I guess it would be, 2015?
Right, so, it was eventually agreed that I would fly with Miss Hurd, so I had to at some point go back to my apartment, drive to my apartment to pick up my passport, which, funnily enough, I hadn't brought with me, and some clothes, a bag to take. So I think I left the house early hours, as I said, 2, 3, may have been a bit later, a.m. I drove back to my apartment, which was 30 minutes drive south, picked up those things. I didn't know how long I was going to go for, but I knew I was travelling, so passport, quick shower, pick up a bag of clothes, and I drove back up to the house. I don't recall exactly what time I arrived there, but I know we had to leave. All the arrangements were being made by the travel agent, and Jerry Judge was liaising with them to make the flight arrangements, which I believe was going mid to late morning. So I think we had to leave the house around 7 or 8 a.m. that morning, Monday the 9th.
And did you travel to the airport with Miss Hurd?
Yes, we drove.
How would you describe her demeanor that morning?
Calmed down a fair bit. She was mostly on the phone, to be honest, for pretty much the whole of that car journey. To various people, one of which I believe was Mr. Depp.
Do you recall her saying anything on the ride to the airport about what had happened the night prior?
Nothing really mentioned in that as way of an explanation, no.
What happened when you got to the airport, if anything?
We were running a bit late. I remember that. Luckily, we were travelling first class, so the driver knew to pull up to a kind of VIP, for want of a better word, VIP check-in point. And so the car got pretty close to where the desk was. Miss Hurd was still on the phone, and so we sat there for a bit with the driver, and Miss Hurd was talking. I don't know who to at that point. And I was thinking, we need to make this flight actually pretty soon, because we were already running a bit late. So I decided to go in, maybe I can go in, check in her bags ahead, and then come back and get Miss Hurd. She should be finished by then, which is what I did.
Did you eventually get on the plane?
Eventually we did. It was a close call, to be honest.
Once you were on the plane, did you have any conversations with Miss Hurd?
Yes, not initially, but she took some time in the bathroom. She was on the phone again to the point where the cabin crew had to sort of tap on the door and say, we need to leave now. Everybody needs to sit down. She did come to sit down, after 10 or 15 minutes in there. And so eventually, luckily, as I said, we were flying first class, which was lovely. She was in the window seat. I think it was 1A, 1B window seat. I had the she did repeat it. She looked pretty incredulous that I hadn't. She repeated it. You mean you've never lost it?
Find inspiration using Kayak Explorer to see everywhere you can fly on your budget. Kayak. Search one and done.
With somebody you just lost it. Like I said, unless you count the time when I was 14 years old and I hit the light switch in my bedroom because I wasn't allowed out that night or something. With a person, no, never. And that was pretty much the end of the conversation. She dropped it then.
How would you describe her tone when she asked those questions of you?
To me, incredulous, be fair to say. Surprised that I hadn't lost it with somebody.
Does anything else stand out about that flight?
It was fairly calm after that. It was calm. I mean, we were both exhausted. I certainly was, and I think I can't remember eating either. Just slept most of the flight. Until obviously we landed, close to landing.
At any point, did you observe anything about Miss Hurd physically on that flight?
Yes, I did. But right toward just before we landed, I noticed some marks on her arm, her left forearm.
How would you describe those?
Long, kind of uniform, evenly spaced, sort of long, thin marks. Very uniform, in fact.
And when did you first notice those?
On the plane towards coming into land, you were gathering the stuff up. I noticed them then. What did you do after you landed in Los Angeles? Once I'd fired up my phone on landing, I saw the arrangements that we would be picked up by one of Mr. Depp's security personnel, who I think was Travis McGiven. So I made contact with him, and he met us in the place that had been arranged. We walked through the arrivals lounge and met him at the end of that. Got in the car with him and drove to the Eastern Columbia building.
And how would you describe Miss Hurd's demeanor in Los Angeles?
Yeah, pretty calm. I mean, she seemed, obviously a lot calmer from the house, but she pleasant towards Travis, certainly in the car. Obviously they knew each other. When we got to the building, she was kind enough to show me around the apartment I'd never been before. She showed me around the penthouse, a little tour. She wrote down some restaurants recommendations, because she knew I'd be staying a few days, probably. So, and I don't really know LA that well. So she recommended a few restaurants. I left. I said, if you need anything, as usual, as I always did, need anything, give me a shout. I'll be staying fairly close by. Just give me a call or a text.
How long were you in LA?
Less than a week. I think I flew back to Australia on the 14th or 15th. So about 5 days, 6 days tops.
Max Flea and Tick Collar. A soft, comfy fit collar with a secure buckle. Comfort they can enjoy. Protection you can trust. Hearts Ultra Guard Pro Max. 6 months of full body flea and tick protection.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
To understand your testimony, is it your testimony that Amber and Mr. Depp arrived together in Australia in February of 2015?
Initially, together I don't think so. I think Mr. Depp arrived ahead of Miss
Right.
Heard, actually.
Mr. Depp arrived first.
I think so, yeah.
And isn't it true that Miss Heard, Amber, didn't arrive until March 5th, 2015 to Australia?
I can't remember the date she arrived, to be honest.
But she could have arrived March 5th, 2015, isn't that true?
Production Foundation speculation.
Sorry.
Miss Heard could have arrived on March 5th, 2015, correct?
It's possible, I suppose.
And isn't it true then that you didn't see any arguments between Miss Heard and Mr. Depp before the injury that occurred to Mr. Depp's finger in Australia?
So, okay.
You saw them argue when they came back. When they came back in April, correct?
I certainly saw them argue in April and through most of the months they were there, yes.
But you don't remember, you can't recall any arguments in February or March of 2015 between Miss Heard and Mr. Depp, correct?
Specific days? Not necessarily, no.
Right, so that you don't know, you can't say that there were any arguments before you came to the house on March 8th, 2015, correct?
I think there were,
Excuse me, say that again. But you don't even know when she arrived, correct?
specifically that day, not necessarily, no.
And you said when you arrived at the house on March 8th, when you eventually found the finger, it was wrapped in paper, is that right?
Wrapped, I mean, it was loosely wrapped. The paper had opened by that point, the blood had dried up, and it was sitting in the sort of mist of this paper,
So
yes.
like someone had put the finger in a piece of paper.
It was in that piece of paper.
It was in a piece of paper, okay. So, but again, like someone had wrapped it up, is that right?
I don't know. It was within that scrunched up piece of paper. Kitchen paper. Tissue paper.
Kitchen paper, is that right?
Tissue paper. It was white. With blood on it.
So like a paper towel.
Like a piece of kitchen towel.
Kitchen towel. Our language is made. Even though we both speak English, I may say a little different. It's like a paper towel.
Yeah, like kitchen paper. Kitchen towel. Yes.
Okay.
Like a tissue.
And was there that sort of paper towel in the kitchen at the house?
Yes, in both areas of the kitchen and the floor.
You said you were in Australia starting in February of 2015, correct?
Correct. I arrived on the 4th of February.
And Mr. Depp arrived sometime after that, is that right?
Correct.
Did you see Marilyn Manson while you were there?
No, I didn't.
You don't know if Mr. Depp was with Marilyn Manson in late February, early March 2015?
Objection Foundation speculation.
Just asking if he saw him. He said he saw him. He said he saw him every day, so I was asking if he saw him.
Marilyn Manson didn't come to the house. I didn't see him at any point.
Do you know if Mr. Depp left to be with Marilyn Manson?
I don't know. I didn't always know where he was going. If he was went out, it was either to work or security would go with him. I would generally go. In fact, I don't think I went out with him at all in Australia.
And you didn't go out with Mr. Depp at all when he was in Australia?
I went and saw him on set once or twice.
So you don't know what Mr. Depp was doing in Australia? Unless he was at the house or on set, is that right?
I saw him at the house, yes, every day.
But you don't know what Mr. Depp was doing when he left the house, correct?
Generally going to work on Pirates of the Caribbean 5 filming, yes.
Were you with him?
No, but security with him. I had to liaise with him for when they would go and when he would come back.
the house, you saw a significant amount of damage, correct?
Yes, through the course of, after I arrived,
And the scene was chaos, correct?
Chaos, I mean, there was a fair amount of damage.
The house was wrecked.
There was a lot of damage on the house, yes.
The house was not in a good state, correct?
Ask him to
There
answer.
was a lot of damage throughout the
You can object first, and then we can have your objection.
Yep.
Stand and then else. Objection. Next question.
And you said there was glass on the floor, correct?
in a few areas, mainly predominantly in the bar, yes, down in the lower ground floor, correct.
Okay, and there was blood on the walls, correct?
In various places, blood on the floor, blood on the walls.
And there was blood on the walls throughout the 3 stories of the house.
No, I wouldn't say that was the extent of it. There were smears up the staircase going up to the main level. There were smears and drips on the carpet.
So there were smears from the master level up to the bedroom area. From the main level up to the bedroom area, is that right?
To the third floor, yes.
Like someone would walk from the main floor up to the bedroom floor. Correct.
There was blood going up the steps, on the staircase, and some of them was, smears where you might have found them.
As if someone was walking from the main level up to the master level, correct? Is that what the blood was like?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. But down. I mean,
Up
there
or down, but
was
from the
blood
main
on
level
that
to
staircase.
up from the main level to the 3rd floor, correct?
Correct, yes.
And you said the sofas were damaged, is that right?
One sofa in that sitting room, which was just off the kitchen's quite an open thing, so flat. There was a sofa with a large TV on the mounted TV in front of that sofa.
And the sofa was on the main level, correct?
Correct, just by the main kitchen,
And where
exactly.
the sofa was damaged, was that with what?
Blood.
Blood. Okay. And lights were damaged?
Some lamps, a couple of lamps, yes.
And there were bottles of alcohol in and out of the fridge. Did you see bottles of alcohol in and out of the fridge?
Yes, I mean, there was... I don't completely understand what you mean.
You saw that?
There was alcohol in the bottle, yes. It was in the fridge. I mean, maybe been able to find it.
And the floors were ruined, correct?
Ruined. I mean, there was a lot of damage on the floor, down in the bar area, and the staircase, and on the main floor area, the wooden parquet floor, correct?
And the floors were going to have to be sanded, correct?
I eventually got them sanded, yes.
And it took, you were there, I think you testified, it took you about 12 to 13 hours for the house to come out, correct?
Correct.
And you said that there was, is it your testimony that you didn't see any of the paintings damaged?
The existing paintings from the owners of the house, no, none of them were damaged.
You didn't see any paintings with a painting of a penis drawn on it?
I did not, and thankfully that was something I didn't have to replace.
Do you know if anyone else saw that?
painting.
Objection, speculation.
I mean, I would have seen it.
There's an objection. Okay, you just stop. That's all right.
Sorry.
All right, if you stand, we can see you better when you do that.
Understood, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
And you said that Jerry Judge was at the house, correct?
Correct.
And he's the head of Mr. Depp's security, correct?
Correct.
And Dr. Kipper was at the house?
Yes, he was.
And Debbie Lloyd was at the house as well, correct?
Yes, she was.
Okay. Now, you understood that Mr. Judge saw scratches on Miss Heard on March 8th, correct?
Objection, hearsay, speculation, foundation.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Did you have, the cleaning lady was going to be coming to the house, correct?
The housekeeper,
Yes, the housekeeper.
Adele, the resident housekeeper. Yes, she was going to be. I mean, yes, she was employed through the week. Again, she wasn't there on weekends.
There was concern about the cleaning lady coming to the house and seeing everything that was in the house, correct?
Objection, speculation, foundation, vague.
I'll allow it if you can answer it. You can answer it.
Thank you. Concern. Sorry.
There was concern about the cleaning lady coming to the house and seeing all the damage that had been done, correct?
I know that when I left to fly to LA with Miss Heard, I told both the chef and the housekeeper they didn't need to be coming to the house because
a silence about what the house looked like.
Objection, hearsay.
It's his own statement.
His own statement. I love it.
Isn't it true that you told Mr. Judge that thought you could get the cleaning lady to swear to silence about what the house looked like?
I think I probably made a comment about, I should just come back and deal with this myself. If that's what you mean, and just get it cleaned up.
And make sure that she wouldn't say anything, correct?
I don't know, she trusted her and the chef anyway. They were good team members.
As the house manager, part of your job is to, you said you work with high-profile people, correct?
High profile, high net worth, I think is what I actually said.
Would you agree that one part of your job is to keep things discreet from your clients?
Of course, it's part of my job. Trust and discretion.
And Mr. Depp was your client, right?
I worked on assignment on those occasions, yes. I was self-employed at the time.
But in March 8th, 2015 in Australia, Mr. Depp was your client, correct?
Correct, essentially. And misheard both the principles.
Okay, and you know how paid for your services?
As I said before, I was paid through Disney, who were making the Pirates of the Caribbean their production company, which I believe was called Herschel.
And can we put out Defendant's Exhibit 377, which is already in evidence? Mr. King, do you see Defendant's Exhibit 377 in front of you?
I do, yes.
And do you recognize this as the lampshade that was in the house in Australia on March 8th, 2015?
Yes, it was, I believe, one of the lampshades that was missing from one of the lamps.
Okay. And you saw, did you see this painting on the lampshade?
I did, yeah. It was part of my walk around to see.
And what floor was the lampshade on?
This was on where the art studio was, on that main level.
It's on the main level. Okay.
Yes. Excuse me.
And was this, did you notice it was dark paint that was on the lampshade?
It certainly looked like it, yes.
And did you take this picture?
I believe I did. Yeah, without seeing the metadata.
Okay. And can we put up Defendant's Exhibit 374, please? And you recognize Defendant's Exhibit 374 as a mirror that was in the house in Australia on March 8th, 2015, correct?
Yes, I do.
And this mirror was in the bathroom, correct?
Correct, there were two mirrors in the bathroom above each sink.
And this was on the top floor, correct?
The master bathroom, essentially.
And the master bathroom, just so I'm clear, was on the top floor.
Top
right?
floor, correct.
And this painting says starring Billy Bob. Is that right? Is that where you were going?
But yeah, I don't know. I was writing.
And was this in the writing? Was it in paint?
I believe it was the same paint, the oil paint that was used on the other mirror that we saw earlier.
And did you take this picture?
Again, possible. I haven't seen the metadata, but yes, probably.
And let's put back up Defendant's Exhibit 375. This writing was also in the master bathroom, correct?
Correct, yeah.
And could you tell if the black paint was on top of the red or under the red?
I didn't really analyze it, to be honest. I just knew I was going to have to clean it up. So.
Right, your whole concern was just cleaning up the house, correct?
Correct.
And you don't know who or what on this, correct?
No, I know that one was oil paint, the other red writing was lipstick.
And lipstick, you're not even sure of that. You just saw it was something sticky. Is that right?
I'm pretty
That's how much I was paying, okay? I picked up the car a few months ago, and watch this, ready? $97 premium, $20 were my fees, $118. Now, I covered up my private information, guys. $39, $118. Check this out, ready? $500 for comprehensive, $500 for collision, $500 for comprehensive, $500 for collision, okay? The same make and model, Hyundai Ioniq, okay? Guys, it's the same policy, $118 to $39. As you can see, I have full coverage. I have a premium policy. I love my coverage and I love my insurance company, but I was paying a lot and I didn't even realize it. Check this out. See, look. Alright. Hyundai Ioniq. I picked my year, okay? Hyundai Ioniq. Here's my make. Picked it already. And then you're going to scroll down and find your model. It's Ioniq Limited. Guys, this only takes 2 minutes. Okay? It's free. Stop overpaying. Fill this out.
Would you believe that doing a simple 5-minute trick just once a day can raise your credit scores into the 700s and even 800s range, no matter how low your scores might be now? It's true. And if you're one of the millions of Americans with a credit score lower than you deserve, if you're thinking of someday owning that new car, new home, or building a better financial future for your family, you'll surely want to see this. You know, I implemented 3 simple steps for just 5 minutes each day, and it really raised my credit scores up high. Number 1, I started tracking my scores and reports with all 3 major credit bureaus. I had no idea how quickly my scores could change in a month or even a week. Number 2, I made a decision to take matters into my own hands. That's not to say I don't value these experts trying to help out people who are struggling. I just decided not to settle for a bunch of outdated and hopeless advice like, just pay your bills on time and this is as good as it's gonna get. I wanted my scores to go up, not just stay the same. Number 3, I stopped listening to conventional credit wisdom and instead used a simple little known credit score trick to turn the game around in my favor. And boy, did it ever pay off. You know, I thought I took pretty good care of my credit overall. I had no idea how one single credit mistake I'd been making ever since the day I swiped my first credit card was actually holding me back from the scores I truly deserved all these years. And within a matter of weeks after using this simple 5-minute credit trick each day, I eliminated this one mistake and my scores went up, up, up. My credit limits increased and my financial flexibility and range of motion came back. You want to see what my one mistake was? And this simple 5-minute trick I used to fix it? Click the link below this video now, and you can see the 5-minute credit trick finally turned my financial life around. I believe the information in that video can help all Americans learn how to raise their scores, just like it helped me. And I think it can help you too. Click the link below to watch now. God bless.
Writing, no, not necessarily.
Now, did you have when Miss Heard was leaving to go back to LA? You were with her, correct?
Correct.
Did you help her pack?
I think I may have done at that point, yes, I think I did.
Did you see were Miss Heard's clothes ruined?
I didn't see any ruined clothes.
There wasn't paint on her clothes.
I could see so much. Yeah, not that point of packing, I mean.
There was paint in the tub, correct?
Say again, sorry.
There was paint in the tub in the bathroom, correct?
I don't recall that.
You don't recall one way or the other?
I don't recall being paint in the tub.
And it's your testimony that there was no paint or blood on Miss Heard's clothes. Is that what you're saying?
Asked and
I
answered.
don't
Now, you said you were in charge of the cleanup, correct?
Yes, it was my responsibility. The house was.
And you were working with Mr. Judge and cleaning up the house, is that right?
On the night that I The day that I arrived there.
Yes.
Yes, the judge did help me at some point. Yes, sweeping up glass, etc.
And was there photos taken of more than the three pictures you've been shown?
Photos
Of the house.
by whom?
Did you take any pictures of the house?
I took a few, yeah, I mean, yes.
And did you take pictures other than the three that we saw?
I think I probably did as I was going around.
Do you know who you gave those pictures to?
No.
Do you know what you took the photos with?
My phone.
And who would you have sent those photos to?
I'd send them to anybody at that point.
You just kept them? Did you show the photos to anyone?
No.
Do you still have the photos?
Yes.
Are they on your phone still?
They were on one of my devices, yes.
Okay. Did you take a photo of the vodka bottle that you said was broken?
Yes.
And you have that photo?
Yes.
Okay, and you didn't give that to anybody?
There are a few photos. I can show it to you now if you want.
How many photos did you have on your phone?
I don't remember the number, but probably more than 10.
Did anyone ever ask you for the photos?
Several of them, yes. Yes.
Did you give them to the people who asked?
Some of them, yes.
Not all of them?
I don't recall how many.
Who asked you for the photos?
I was involved in a case in London a couple of years ago.
Did you give the photo of the vodka bottle to the people that you were involved in the case in London?
Objection, relevance, Your Honor.
Stay again, sorry.
Did you give a photo of the vodka bottle to the people you were working with in London?
I don't recall which photos I did send.
What other? So did you take photos of the walls?
The walls, certainly the smears of the blood and the damage, the plaster damage, yes.
You took photos of the walls with blood on it. Is that right?
Yes.
You took photos of the plaster, right, that was damaged.
At the end of the bar, in the bar, behind the bar, by the sink, yes.
And did you take photos of the ping pong table that you said was broken?
Yes, as part of the bar area.
Did you take photos of? There was a glass table that was broken too, correct?
The glass table, I don't recall the glass table.
Okay. Did you take photos of all the damage that was around the house?
Probably most of it, yes.
And the only time you gave those photos to anyone, you're saying, was in the UK case a couple years back?
I've never shared them with anybody else, yes.
And it costs about $75,000 to clean up the damage, isn't that right?
I don't know the exact cost. I think I calculated at the time, after all the vendors had been and done their thing, it was about 50,000, I seem to recall.
Now, you said you flew back to Australia with Miss Herbert.
I didn't fly back with
She
my
flew back to LA from Australia, thank you. With Miss Herbert. And you were asleep for most of the flight, correct?
a lot of it. I think it's a 14-hour flight, so I think we both slept for quite a lot of it, yeah.
And you were exhausted for the 13 hours you were working at the house, right? And your testimony was that Miss Heard said to you, have you ever been so angry with someone that you just lost it, correct?
After I'd asked, so what happened?
But you didn't inquire as to what she was referring to, right? that?
Yeah, I got it.
And if you actually look at, see, starting at the bottom of 1102, this was a statement when you said you did not, you say, Ms. Hurd asked you, have you ever been so angry with anyone that you lost it? Your answer, that's correct. And you specifically remember that, do you? Yes. You said it never happened to you. Answer, that is correct. Question, she did not, I mean, if it was said, nothing was said about she was talking about, was it? Answer, she was asking me a question. Question, she was asking you a question. Answer, yes. Question, you did not inquire as to what she was referring to, did you? I do not recall asking. I know that she was asking of her a question and I gave her an answer. You see that?
Yes.
Okay, and that was your testimony you gave in the UK 2 years ago, correct?
Yes.
So you don't know what Ms. Hurd was talking about when she made that statement, correct? You don't know if she was inquiring that she was making that statement about Mr. Depp, right?
Like I said, I'd asked the question, what happened, referring to the house, and she gave me that answer, so I think it was pretty clear to both of us what we were talking about. I mean,
and then you went to sleep
at that point.
And then you went to sleep, and then you had the flight the rest of the
sometime after that, yeah.
Now, and you said you saw Ms. Hurd with cuts on her arm, is that right? Yeah,
that's
flight.
right, towards the end of the flight, yeah.
Okay. If we could put up 376 Do you recognize this picture?
I've not seen this picture before.
Were these the cuts? Did you see cuts like this on Ms. Hurd?
Was that Ms. Hurd?
Why don't we put up 376 and see? You recognize the person in that picture?
That's Ms. Hurd.
Did you see cuts like that? Which are
Similar to that, like I described earlier, long, thin cuts, pretty uniform cuts.
These were the cuts. The cuts were like this on her kind of wrist or area. Is that right?
I don't know what the date of this photograph is, but they look pretty uniform like they do here, yes.
Like that are 376C evidence.
Medium tension.
No objection. 376.
And can we put back up 376G? Seeing 376C, is this consistent with the scratches? And 376G, are these consistent with the scratches you saw in Ms. Hurd?
I don't see a date. Is that the same time? Is that the same date?
My question is, are the scratches similar to what you saw in Ms. Hurd?
These are uniform, kind of long, thin scratches, yes. Kind
Like
of
that,
scratches.
376G in evidence.
Any objection?
I mean, Foundation, he hasn't authenticated the document through this witness.
I'm just asking if the pictures are consistent with these. Can you publish it, please? Thank you. interaction with Debbie Lloyd when you were in the house, correct?
Yes, briefly.
And isn't it true that in the entire time you were there, you were not informed as to what caused damage to Mr. Depp's hand, finger, or March 8th?
Objection, hearsay.
As he wasn't told.
Sustain the objection. Next question.
You didn't know what could cause damage to Mr. Depp's hand while you were there on March 8th, correct?
Dr. Kepler told me he sustained an injury on one of his fingers.
Objection, hearsay. Okay, he sustained an injury to his finger,
Yes,
but you don't know what caused the injury to his finger.
one of his fingers.
But you don't know what caused, you don't know how his finger was injured,
I
correct?
don't think anybody mentioned it to me at that time.
Right, no one mentioned it to you at that time, correct?
Same objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Sorry, I'll allow next question.
Now, you understand that there was a phone in the house that was recording during the cleanup.
Sorry, I didn't hear all of that.
Did you come to understand that there was a phone in the house that was recording as people were cleaning up?
At that time, no.
But you now know that there was a phone that was recording people as they were cleaning up.
Objection, foundation, hearsay.
I'm not asking for particular statements.
I'll allow if he knows.
I believe that came up somewhere later on. At that time, I wasn't aware. I believe I became aware of it later, yes.
I would like to put up defendant's 378. It's a recording I want to play a couple of times. 12:07 through 13:19.
Only segment you wish to have.
And then I would also like to play 1951 through 21.
Is this going to be used again, or is this
I think it would be
378? The objection 378.
Yes, Your Honor, we do have an objection. I believe this is a recording that has the voices of people other than Mr. Hurd and Mr. Depp, and on that basis, it's hearsay. Unless I'm incorrect about which document we're talking about.
Sure.
Excuse me, sorry about that. Going back to the photos that you took for the movement of the damage in the house, you recall giving that testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Did Mr. Depp ask you for the photos?
No.
Did you give the photos to counsel for Mr. Depp?
Some of yes. Yeah.
Did you withhold any photos from Mr. Depp or his counsel?
Didn't withhold any photos from anybody. I didn't withhold.
Did you give all of the photos you have on your phone to Mr. Depp and his counsel?
Not all of the photos on my phone, no.
All the photos of the damage that occurred on March 8th, 2015?
Not all of them, I don't think so.
to how many photos you gave?
I really can't know an amount. I don't recall how many.
More than 3?
Yes,
More than 10?
possibly more than 10. Yeah, maybe.
Between 10 and 20?
Objection to speculation. That's an answer.
Do you know?
Sorry,
She overruled you.
oh, okay. Possibly more than 10. Yeah,
But somewhere between 10 and 20, is that right?
possibly. I honestly don't know.
Could it be more than 20?
I don't think so.
Did Mr. Depp's counsel ask for all the photos?
I don't recall.
I don't recall one way or the other what they asked for.
I gave them some photos. I don't recall how many were asked or requested.
And those were requested in 2020?
Correct. Prior to
The UK?
that, yes.
I never skip leg day. But that's why I have the recovery air boots. Without them, there is no leg day. The recovery air boots are an elite way to recover. I absolutely hate the feeling of soreness in my legs. And just when I'm ready to quit, I think of the recovery air boots. Or rather, after using the recovery air boots, my day's just getting started. If you don't know, now you know. Recovery air jet boots. Murph TV.
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 Murph TV. Murph TV.
That's right.
Murph TV.
Murph TV.
Did they ask for them in this case?
I believe I supplied some for this case also, yeah.
You supplied photos for this case to Mr. Depp's counsel?
I believe I did.
And was that about the between 10 and 20 photos that you're talking about?
I don't remember how many for this.
But was it the same photos? Was it the same amount of photos that you gave to the counsel, Mr. Depp's counsel in the UK?
I don't know if it's the same amount. I don't recall.
Did Mr. Depp's counsel in this case ask for all the photos you had of the damage of March 8th, 2015?
All of the photos. I don't think they requested all of the photos.
They didn't ask for all the photos you had of that damage?
I don't know if they requested them all.
Was it Mr. Waldman who asked you for the photos?
Originally, I don't remember who called shillings. But
Did Mr. Waldman ever ask you for the photos?
I don't know if he asked me specifically. If he was part of that team, I assume so.
And you spoke to Mr. Waldman, is that right?
I did a couple of years ago, yeah.
Okay. And he was part of the team that was asking for the evidence you had of what occurred in Australia in 2015, is that right?
He was part of that team, as I understood it, yeah.
Okay. And as part of that team, he and others were asking for photos from Australia from March 8th, 2015, is that right?
They requested them at some point. So
And you provided, and that's when you provided the 10 to 20 photos, is that right?
photos, correct.
Okay. And then, was there a separate counsel that asked you for the photos in this case?
Yes.
There was.
Yeah. I mean,
Was it
essentially the same.
Who was it that asked you for photos in this case?
I don't recall a name specifically.
Was it a man or a woman?
I don't know. I just part of the team.
And when did they make that request?
When? I don't know a date. I don't know specifically.
In what year?
This year, last year. I mean, prior to this, obviously.
So it could have been in damage that occurred in Australia?
Again, I don't recall the amount.
But you have a larger amount on your phone than what you provided to Mr. Depp's.
Objection, Your Honor. Ask and answer. Cumulative.
Sustain the objections, ask and answer.
Going to London for a couple minutes. You didn't live at the house in London, correct?
I didn't live there, correct?
Do you know if Miss Heard had friends over to the house in London?
She did. They came to stay. Yes.
And they stayed from September 9th through September 22nd, 2014, correct?
I don't remember the duration, but that's possible.
Okay. And they were literally staying at the house, correct?
They were accommodated at the house, correct?
Right. And so, you don't know who was drinking the bottles of wine that you brought into the house, correct?
At which point? What do you mean?
When Miss Heard's friends were there, you don't know who was drinking the wine.
Oh, they were all enjoying the wine.
They were all drinking the wine.
But I took care of them as I would take care of any guests that came into any house.
And wasn't it 5 to 7 guests that were at the house with Miss Heard?
I don't remember the number. It sounds about right.
Okay, and then at the end of the night, there was 1 or 2 bottles of wine finished, right?
When Mr. Depp and Miss Heard were there on their own, there was certainly that amount, yes.
Do you know how many? You don't know how many. You don't know how many bottles were there when it was Miss Heard and her friends, correct?
I would say more.
You don't know. You don't know one way or the other, right?
I don't recall the count, but certainly more than when there were just 2 of them in the house. Because
you don't know.
7 extra people, 5 people.
But you don't know the count.
Precisely, no, I don't.
And do you know how much time Miss Heard was in London with Mr. Depp, not with her friends?
A fair amount of that. I don't recall. Days, no, I don't recall.
So they were there for a month, correct?
Thereabouts, yeah.
And I mean, when I say they, Miss Heard and Mr. Depp were in London for about a month, right?
Correct. Around about a month.
And wasn't it true that for about 2 or 3 weeks, Miss Heard's friends were also staying in London?
I think 2 or 3 weeks. I don't recall, but I don't think it was that long.
You don't know one way or the other, right?
I don't think it was that long.
You don't have anything to base that on, right? Just what your memories say. And you don't know what happened in London when you were there, right?
You mean after I'd left for evening?
Yeah.
Usually the chef was there still when I left each evening to Russell. Take care of dinner and leave later that each night.
And then after the chef left, you don't know what happened in the house, correct?
I wasn't there.
Right. And you don't know for certain whether Mr. Depp drank wine or not in the house, right?
Obama just congratulated Americans on having access to the largest healthcare benefit in history.
This decade-old policy is giving anyone who makes less than $50,000 per year free health care starting this week.
I used to do anything I could to avoid going to the doctor. But now I'm getting better care than ever before, and all with $0 out of my pocket.
The White House approved stimulus providing Americans with free benefits that used to cost a fortune. Now anyone can get dental coverage, vision care, women's services, and so much more, all at no cost.
I still can't believe how much money this is saving me. I was able to get all of my health benefits for free, and now I have extra money for my day-to-day living and groceries, car payments, and more.
Over 30 million Americans are eligible for these free health benefits and can claim them online at no cost. Just click Free Care below this video to activate your benefits today.
I can't believe I didn't know about this sooner. I followed the steps to get started, spoke with an expert in my state, and qualified for reimbursements that I never thought would be possible. Just click below to see what you're owed.
I'm in Cabo, Mexico. It's 2:20 p.m. on a Monday, and if I log into my seller's dashboard right now, I can see I've already made over $781 in sales so far today, and much more for the month. Come on, let me show you. Actually, I stand corrected. I've made some money since I last looked. We're now at $815, $815.93 in today so far. And then if we go to the last 30 days, I'm going to hit apply, refresh, so there's no photoshopping or anything. You can see here still over $25,000 in the last month with just these super simple products. Now, if we scroll through here, you can see these are simple mugs, shirts, shot glasses, hoodies, things like that. So nothing complicated. allocated. And this is just here on Amazon, which is only one of the platforms where I sell them. I also have them listed on Etsy, eBay, so you can do the math. Now, you're probably thinking, Rachel, I saw a lot of products there. You must have a huge team creating products nonstop, and it must be a nightmare to manage. Inventory, their shipping, handling. I don't have time or money for that. I'm already busy, and money is tight. Well, that's where things get really interesting, because each of these products took me literally 5 to 10 minutes or less to create and list for sale on all these sites. And after they're live, they bring in sales week after week for months or even years. Now, let me tell you, I'm not a professional designer. I don't have a big team. I don't manage any inventory or deal with shipping and handling. With a few online tools and in just a few clicks, I can go from idea to design to listing a new product on Amazon, eBay, and Etsy, to connecting them to a fulfillment center and start potentially making sales pretty much the same day. And when you click the button below this video, I will show you how you could potentially do it too. I've turned this whole process into an extremely simple, inexpensive, and repeatable system. I use it myself, and I've taught it to hundreds of regular, everyday people over the last year as well. And they're also getting amazing results. So I know it works. Like Tasha, who shared how she made $33,000 in sales in 30 days. Or like Helen, a former paralegal who now does 6 figures per year in sales, selling little old mugs. And these are just two from over thousands of success stories that we've had so far, all of which make me extremely grateful and proud of this system. So, whether you want a potential side income stream or maybe replace your salary completely, then you're in luck. Today, you have to take action quickly, but you see, this opportunity is right now. In the next 12 to 24 months, I predict the competition could be so big that it could be harder to make a good profit from this strategy. That's why the best time to start using this system was yesterday. The next best time is today. So if you would like to watch over my shoulder as I create and launch one of these products, show you exactly how it's all done and how you can do it too, then click below and join my free workshop where I'll tell you all about it. See you inside.
So there's usually, when it was just the two of them in the house, there was usually only one glass in the morning, either on the kitchen sink or on the bedside stand in the master bedroom.
But you don't know who drank from that. You don't know who drank from that glass when you weren't there, right?
Well, it wasn't there, correct. But when I usually left the house, I'd already misheard a glass of wine before I left, invariably.
But once you left, you don't know if Mr. Depp drank wine or not, correct?
I wasn't there after I left.
And you don't know what started the fights you talked about in London, correct? Other than that one you said you heard about.
And the second one that I described, I was in the vicinity. I heard the first comment of this. That was the start of that argument.
And you don't actually know if there was an argument before what you heard, right?
That evening, I didn't hear another one. That way, it started in that room as I described earlier.
And you don't know what happened in Australia also between March 5th and March 8th, correct?
The 6th, I left on Friday the 6th was when I left for the weekend.
Okay, so between Friday the 6th and when you got to the house on March 8th, you don't know what happened.
I wasn't there.
And you never saw Miss Heard be violent at any time, right?
Sorry, say that.
You never saw Miss Heard be violent at any time, correct?
Beyond from the prodding and violence, I didn't see it. He gave off to be violent towards each other.
You never saw Miss Heard be violent at any time, right?
I didn't see her be violent, depending on your...
Show your witness statement where you say you never saw Miss Heard be violent at any time.
Okay. Violence, yes, I didn't see violence per se.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. King, have you ever been employed by Mr. Depp?
No.
So in each of these situations where you've been around Mr. Depp, you've always been employed by somebody else?
Correct.
overheard some discussion on Cross about photos, which I suspect you remember. Why did you take the photos of the property damage in Australia?
As I do, a lot of my jobs and various assignments and jobs through the years, I take photos as points of reference for whatever reason. I mean, if I'm packing suitcases up and they're going to be in transit and I'm not with the suitcases, I'll take a picture of contents, and when I send stuff so I know what's gone and what's gone, I take pictures as points of reference. Sometimes take pictures of table settings that I've done or which I know I can use later on as reference.
Were the photos of property damage in Australia the first photos that you've taken in the course of working with Mr. Depp, as heard? Had you ever taken photos before?
Yes.
What kinds of things have you taken photos of?
In London, reference points and dinner table settings. Sometimes Mr. Depp would write notes for Miss Heard. He'd leave notes on the sort of kitchen table when he left for work. I believe I took pictures of those. They were, there, things like that. Just setups of, once I set up houses, it's always good to take photos of rooms so I can cross-reference later on if I need to.
Did Miss Heard or her counsel ever ask you for photos of any of the photos you took in Australia?
No.
Can I see Plaintiff's Exhibit 159? And I think this is a multi-page document. Can you scroll through? We have 3 pages here. Mr. King, do you recognize this document?
Yes, it's the floor plan of the house in Australia.
And do you recall on cross-examination you were asked to kind of describe where some of the property damage was?
Yes.
So, right now, on the screen in front of you,
Yep.
which floor would you say this is?
This is the top floor with the master suite and 2 other bedrooms.
Okay. And I believe counsel asked you if there was blood in one of the bathrooms or one of the bathtubs. Do you recall that?
Yes, they did ask that.
Would that have been on this floor?
I think they were referring to the master tub. I think that's what he said.
Okay. So can you mark on the screen where that would have been?
The master tub? It's over here. Can I just dot it now?
Can you just dot it? Yes.
Okay, so that looks like the master tub to me.
And just to clarify, did you recall seeing any blood or damage there?
In the tub, no.
Okay. Can you mark for us on the screen where you did see the damage that was discussed on cross?
With the mirrors, can I dab on here again?
Sure.
Yeah, so these are the sinks. The 2 mirrors were above each mirror, above each sink.
Can we scroll up to the page prior? And can you point out for us on this page, well, first of all, which floor is this?
This is the main level floor. It's actually the second
So you were just finding out where, I think this is the second floor.
Yes, essentially the main level, yeah.
Okay, so other than these 3 dots, do you recall any other places where there was damage?
Yes, where it says family room, there was the TV was all mounted on that wall in between family and lounge. The sofa was approximately where you've got the red square there, red rectangle now, facing towards the TV. The lounge is used. Sorry, the lounge was essentially the art studio. And the bedrooms to the left, where the damaged lamp and shade, blood on the duvet, etc. that I described.
Okay, then let's go to the first page. And which floor is this?
This is the lower ground floor.
Okay, and can you point out for us, did you find the finger on this floor?
Correct.
Can you point out to us where you found the finger?
Yes, okay. Right here. It's the end of the bar. It's on the tiled floor below that end of the bar.
Okay, and any other significant property damage that you want to point out on this floor?
Yes, as I said, this was the. Can I do it again? Yeah. So that was the most part of the broken glass. That's where the Stolichnaya bottle was, below that bar by the bar stools. There were 3 bar stools that you could sit at there. On this back wall here, there was plaster damage. Over here above the sink, to the side of the sink, was more plaster damage on the walls. Behind the bar, that mirror was cracked, broken. Ping pong table was around there, collapsed on the floor. And around those 3 dots, another one, there was the spillages as well, the smelling alcohol, to me, the puddles of alcohol.
Is that it?
I mean, that was the most part of the damage around that area, in front of the bar, especially. There was, I mean, as I said, there were blood drips around that white cream-coloured tiled floor in the games room. And this is the staircase down. It was this side that the chip was out of the stone step. And if I can get another dab in there, right about in the centre of that bar, the chunk out on the side of the counter, bar top.
How many exits are there in the room?
All of these were exits, these, my office was off over here, I think you can just see it says study, big glass sliding door. The gym had an exit here, this went into the garage, there was a button you could press for the automatic doors to come up. The laundry area, which is right here, this is actually an exit out into the yard, essentially. The gym, all of those rooms had an exit.
Other than Mr. Depp's counsel, did anybody else ever ask to see your photos?
No.
Nothing further.
Alright, just witness subject to recall. Alright, so since you're subject to recall, it's important that you do not discuss your testimony with anybody and do not pay attention to the trial and don't watch anything about the trial, okay? Alright, thank you. Alright, you can step down.